Ask the expert at WFGR.com.
98.7 WFGR. It is 7:38. Dave Cackley's been busy over there on the phones with a little traffic going on. What do you got?
A lot of stuff happening. Slick roads causing accidents. Eastbound M6 just west of 131. Also, eastbound I-96 at the 48-mile marker. Another crash reported Alpine at Schultz, 18-mile at Keller, 3-mile at Kinney, and 108th at Wustman. Slick roads, slow it down as you make that morning drive. Come on, you're just heading to work. What are you in a hurry for?
Yeah, what's the rush? It's a holiday week.
There you go. That's traffic on 98.7 WFGR.
Last year, we had the distinguished pleasure to welcome a guest that, I'll be honest with you, surprised me. Out of 25 years of this, I can't think of a better guest that we've had. How about you?
Oh, fantastic.
Jeffrey
Absolutely.
Richard Sipskit. And we're not saying this to make you, blow you, we're trying to pump y'all up
Keep
here.
it going.
No.
Evidently, he doesn't have a problem with compliments.
Right?
It's a nice way to start the day.
Dude, we were blown away by you coming in here last year. Your honesty, your passion for what you're here preaching. And World AIDS Day coming up on December 1st, it's still kind of a touchy, taboo subject for a lot of people.
Which is the whole reason we continue to have the event in Grand Rapids and everywhere. I mean, one of the reasons it came back probably 5 years ago, there was a kind of a hiatus there, and there was just a lack of conversation about this issue. And, I shouldn't say unfortunately, but it deals with issues that people don't want to talk about.
They're very uncomfortable with it.
Sex
is uncomfortable. Drugs is uncomfortable.
Gays. Let's face it, those are not typically conversations that people are comfortable talking about.
Right.
So it's just not talked about, and that's actually one of the issues that is deadly.
Yeah.
Because people just are not having that conversation because the bottom line, this virus doesn't care.
No.
It doesn't care who you are. It cares if you have a bloodstream.
Right.
Yeah.
That's all it cares about. It doesn't see anything else.
Talk about your history a little bit for people that have come along since you were here last time. Talk about when you were diagnosed and how you've gone about dealing with being diagnosed HIV positive and then living with AIDS.
I'm a little speechless for a second, which actually rarely happens.
Yeah, I know.
What? You're a bit of a
Anyone
chatty
that knows me is
Cathy
like,
there.
Really? Did they strangle him? I was diagnosed in 1987, and I was just telling one of my guests this the other day. I was told I had 2 years to live when I was 20, and I just celebrated my 49th birthday.
Wow!
And yeah, so I have lived now over half my life with HIV, and I'm proud of that. I'm a bit surprised by that. A lot of times when I used to do HIV education, people, especially people that were positive, would say to me, "How did you do it?"
Yeah.
And everybody wants that silver bullet, that magic secret. And I think it was a combination of things. I think there was some luck involved. I think that genetics. I come from good, healthy stock, and I think that certainly has helped. And then I think, what's between my ears has helped. Other people might disagree with that, but for me, it was just this idea. Probably 6 months into my diagnosis, I thought, I'm just not feeling this die thing that people are talking about, and I had too much to live for.
At 20 years old, you hear this
20.
stuff.
Yeah, I thought I had my whole life ahead of me, and literally in one phone call that spun, and they literally said, "You need to get your affairs in order." Well, I was thinking, what the heck? I'm
20 years old.
What affairs you have to put in? Yeah.
Exactly.
I got to sell my used Toyota to somebody.
I didn't even have a car then.
Right.
I had to borrow a car to come down to Grand Rapids. This is where I got tested. And I was going to school at Ferris State University. And I had to borrow a car to get down here because I didn't own a car. And I had to call somebody and make up a story. Because that, to me, there's a double diagnosis with HIV. You're diagnosed with the disease, the virus. And then there's the social diagnosis.
Right.
Because most people, you're diagnosed with cancer or some other issue. Most people reach out and tell people. And they, for support and... whatever. And this is something that most people, even to this day and age, they don't talk about it because there's the judgment.
The stigma.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it's, for some people, I have been so incredibly blessed in my life. And I'm grateful every day. I know this is Thanksgiving week and everyone's on Facebook and stuff talking about what they're thankful for, which I can appreciate.
Right.
Every day I think about how blessed my life has been because it's not been all pretty and roses, but, for the most part, the people that I really care about have loved me unconditionally and supported me through some really tough stuff. And I'm grateful for that because not everyone has that.
What was your family's reaction? Because I imagine that's got to be one of the toughest conversations to have, telling your family, I've got this disease and there's no cure.
Yeah.
What was that?
I waited almost 5 years to tell
Really?
my family.
Wow.
Yeah. And it wasn't because I make it really clear, it was not because I thought that they weren't going to accept me. And because some people are thrown out of their home. I mean,
Right.
it's
Oh, yeah.
the stories I've heard over
Yeah.
the years.
You
are
told us last year some
horrific. Yeah, I mean,
teenage kids getting kicked out of the house.
totally. And then they're on the streets, and that leads to a whole nother life. I knew it was going to break my mom's heart.
Yeah.
I knew it, and I didn't want to do that. And quite honestly, then I thought I was going to. This is so funny in retrospect. I was going to set up this family meeting where we're just going to get together and talk. Well, my family, we're hardy Croatians, and
Yeah.
we get together, and it's usually on Sunday afternoon back then, and we got together and had our family time together. And
Right.
stuff. So I call them in midweek, and I'm living up in Grand Rapids, and I say, I want to get together for a family dinner. Well, right away, my mom was like, yeah, what's wrong?
No full of mom, is there?
Why do you
Oh,
want to
yeah.
eat with us?
Totally, especially during the week. Yeah, and
That was
and it
subtle. Yeah.
Exactly. And I hear in my head, I guess probably because I wanted it
Yeah.
to be that way. In my head, I thought, okay, well, I'll get together. I'll be able to sit down and talk to them. And my mom kind of unwound it on the phone for me, and I ended. She finally said, "Are you okay?" And then she came right out and said, "Are you sick?"
Yeah.
And I told her, and I mean, it was probably the most horrific moment, second horrific moment I've had in my life. And
Right.
hear her drop the phone, hit the floor, and she just starts screaming.
Oh,
and then
my
my dad
God.
gets on the phone and asks what
Yeah.
I just said to her because he had no idea.
Right.
So anyway, and in some ways it turned out okay because then I had an hour
Yeah.
to drive to Battle Creek. 'Cause I said I'm on my way, which I wasn't expecting that night. I was thinking like a week away or
Right,
whatever.
right.
And and by the time I got there, my brothers and sisters had come together and everybody was at the house, and it was a tough conversation because
Yeah.
at that point, and still sometimes you feel like you have to explain yourself,
Right.
which is just ridiculous. But you still, because you have that stigma, you feel like you need to come out and say, but I didn't sleep with 100 people. I didn't,
Right,
which
yeah.
is what a lot of people think. And they were terrific. They were most concerned about me and what they could do for me. And at the time, I didn't know. Just the fact that they were just so loving, and my mom wasn't curled up in a ball still. I was
Right.
very happy. And she ended up pulling it together in such an incredible way and ended up attending some conferences with me for people with AIDS.
Yep.
And this is back in the 80s when
It was really
it
taboo.
was, and this conference was in upstate New York. Okay, I've got a hilarious. This is a quick little story, but it is hilarious.
Here
about
we
this
go.
conference. Yeah, put your seatbelts on, folks. So we're at this conference, and it's about 300 PWAs, people with AIDS, and my mom was like the first parent to come to this conference. You could bring anybody you want. Some people
Right.
brought spouses and things, but my mom was the first parent to come because most parents just didn't
Right.
know or
Yeah.
wouldn't go. So here's my mom from Battle Creek, Michigan. It's upstate New York. A lot of these people were from New York City.
Different culture
Oh,
from
yeah.
Battle Creek.
Oh,
A
yeah.
tad.
Slight.
Just a little.
So we get there, and they put us in two different support groups. So during the day, a couple times the support groups met, and of course they didn't want us in the same one.
Sure.
So she could be free to talk, and I could be free to talk. So we get together at dinner, and I'm so excited because she seems pretty pumped up. And so I said, "Well, how was your day? How was your support group?" And we're sitting. Actually, it was dinner. We're sitting in this little cabin. And she looks at me and says, "I met the nicest dragon queen."
Dragon Queen.
Well, and then it went on from there. And he was so nice, and he was a knifomaniac. And I'm thinking to myself, "Oh my God, my poor mother! Please close your ears, sweet Jesus! What's been said to her?"
A knifomaniac.
Yeah. So
He just really likes knives.
right there you go.
He's really into knives.
So there was lots of disclosure that night and
Right.
sharing about what was what, and
Yeah.
and I'm really proud to say she became everybody's mom.
Yeah.
At this retreat center, and it was beautiful, and I was really proud of her because it put her in a situation that was way beyond her
Yeah.
comfort zone.
Yeah.
And
And
like my mom rolls, she just rolled with it.
I think that's the moment that people need to realize that, okay, you may be way out of your comfort zone, but this is real, and it's just honesty.
And it's
It may not
life,
be the
and
most
it's someone's
comfortable.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And regardless of if we live our life slightly different, I
Yeah.
was thinking about this morning, as I was taking out the trash. I was thinking, I get up, take a shower,
Take the trash
brush
out.
my teeth.
Yep.
I took the trash out, put it at the curb.
Yep. It's no different.
Yeah.
Than anybody
I
else.
mean, exactly. And I think a lot of us, myself included, sometimes we get so wound up in our head about what people are doing.
Yeah.
And it's easy to go there, but I challenge people to stop yourself.
Yeah.
Don't go there.
Right.
If you start going there with somebody, just try to back it off. And, I guess it's kind of that golden rule. How do you want to be treated?
That's it.
And besides that, there's things in people I don't agree with, and I don't may not get their lifestyle,
Right.
whatever that is. But who am I? Who am
Exactly.
who am I to judge that? I just try to look at them as a person and how I interact with them. And to me, it's about, are you good people?
Right.
Right.
What do you do? I mean,
Right.
really, what comes out of your mouth, and actually, what are your actions?
Yeah.
That's to me what really counts. Not if you're a dragon queen or whatever else you're into.
That's what I'm going to go for is Halloween. I'm going to go as a dragon queen.
Perfect. Let's talk about World AIDS Day and
Yes.
the events going on here coming up Sunday.
Yes. The Project Red, Grand Rapids Project Red, is a wonderful nonprofit in town, and their mission is to help prevention of HIV, healthy lifestyles, and they have taken over the event this year. It's
Okay.
something that my partner Marty and I have been doing for quite a few years, and for a variety of issues, Project Red took it over this year,
Sure.
which we're really happy about. And they've actually kind of expanded it into like a 3-stage event, which I think is really brilliant. It starts with a candlelight vigil at Rosa Parks Circle.
Okay.
And so they're going to have some community people from Kent County who've passed away from HIV and AIDS. So their names will be read. There's going to be a remembrance walk from Rosa Parks Circle to Fountain Street Church. The Rosa Parks Circle event starts at 6, and then they're going to be at Fountain Street by 7.
Okay.
And at 7, there's been so much sadness
Mm-hmm.
around this disease. It's really kind of tough to pull an event off because you don't want it all sad. I mean, in
Right.
the 80s and 90s, we did that. I mean, I went to so many funerals, I kind of stopped counting.
Yeah.
And now there's a lot more hope. So what we've tried to do with this event is kind of mash it up a little bit, where some people still want to remember.
Solemn
and they
remembrance.
want to go cry. And
Yep.
we have parents. There's this sweet couple from Douglas, Michigan, that comes over every year, ice storm, no matter what, just to remember their son Ricky, who died almost 30 years ago. And
Wow.
they still well up. I mean, so anyway, the event at the church is a kind of a mix of, they're having the cast from Actors Theater Love, Valor, Compassion come in and do, which is there's a storyline in there about a person with HIV, doing some of the scenes from there. There's music. They're doing a free will donation to help support Project Red and the good work that they do.
Cool.
And then afterwards, at Rumors nightclub down on 67 Division, there's a Dragon Queen show.
Hey!
There we go.
A Dragon Queen show.
And that's when the celebration begins after that. So about 10 o'clock, they're having a party, an after party at Diversions to just celebrate life and celebrate the advancements in treatment for HIV and the hope for a day when we don't have to do this.
Is it a Diversions or Rumors?
Yeah,
I'm
you
sorry,
say
it's at Rumors.
I was
Sorry.
gonna
Oh, that's
say.
all right. Yeah, I want to make
Sorry,
sure we
We've
Rumors.
got so many
Diversions is a
of
great
those
bar, too.
clubs. We got so many of those clubs in Grand Rapids. It's hard to keep them all straight.
That-
So
that's right. The
straight,
whole- the
no
whole
pun intended.
Oh, all right, Dave.
Ah!
Look at that.
Well, I'll tell you what,
Da-da, boom.
Jeff, it's always a pleasure to have you in.
Thank you. You guys, thanks for
you know
having
what?
me.
You know what I think my draw is to you personally. I think that you and I and Dave, for that matter, I think we spend a lot of our times doing the same things.
Mm-hmm.
You've got your salon. You make girls women feel happy about the way they look, the way they appear, the way they, and you know what? That's what we do too.
Yeah.
You know, we come in here day in and day out. The hours.
It's a great thing, isn't it?
And you know what? If we can bring a moment of happiness to somebody's day, and I
Absolutely.
think that's the connection. I think
Right.
that's why I kind of. I met Jeff a little over a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Abby's
and I
wedding.
thought this guy's got a story to tell, and he's right.
Oh,
So
thank you. I appreciate you having me in. And you're right. Doing good stuff like that, it's
makes you feel good.
it does. It's what
Yes,
it's
it does.
about.
All right, World AIDS Day is coming up this Sunday. Jeffrey Richard Sipsick, throw a plug in for the salon, would you?
Yeah, what?
You want
Might
people
as well.
Hey,
Come on,
Je-
you want
you
people
know-
to
Hey,
come.
it's your
out there.
moment.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that
Free-
I've got the most incredible team in the world. They've just, I've had some health issues this year,
Yeah.
and they've stepped up. And Jeffrey Richard Salon is, there's a lot of wonderful stylists in this city and a lot of great salons. if you want a great experience, I think that's the place to be, and you're not
That's
going
right.
to be taken better care of.